It made me feel like nothing else did. You know, it even if you'd see something scary on TV or whatever, it wouldn't scare me the way this cold draft or this eerie feeling did.
I wandered off into the hallway by myself and I looked up the stairs and there was just this lady just kind of hanging there. That was what really sent me off.
My family was very superstitious. You know, the black cat walking, don't cross that path. You have to go around, break the path on the other side. Hit the salt shaker, you gotta toss it over the left shoulder. Don't put new shoes on a tabletop. I'm not sure if they made some up as they were going along or if these were just sort of pushed down the line, so to speak. But we grew up in a very superstitious household.
Growing up ghostly. What would it do to you if you saw a ghost when you were still in your formative years? Hello, I'm Lawrence Chow. Welcome to Ghostly Encounters. Today we'll hear two supernatural stories that began in childhood. We'll look at those things in our upbringing that shaped the way we would respond if we ever thought we'd seen a ghost. When they felt they'd stumbled onto the spirit world, Lance Wynn and Leslie LaRocque's reactions ranged from acceptance to absolute terror. For Lance, a calm response came from a childhood spent in the warmth of a large, extended, and superstitious family.
We used to live in an old house in Kensington Market. And my grandmother, of course, she had 10 kids, so we obviously had a big family. We'd lived there for one generation, but prior to that, it was actually one of the original houses built in Kensington Market. I remember a lot of cold spots in the house. A lot of footsteps and creaky stairs. Now, mind you, I was young and it's a busy house, but I know that house always had weird feelings. I remember being 4 years old and walking upstairs to bed by myself, and that because our staircase, of course, you went up the first staircase, had to make the sharp left around the rail to go up to the next staircase. Well, that bedroom that I didn't like was directly at the top of the stairs. So I knew that every time I went up to bed, it made me feel like nothing else did. You know that feeling you have when you walk into a place you've never been before? Well, you take that and you feel like that every time you walk into the room? That's a bit odd. I remember getting to the top of the stairs and I was barefoot and I could feel this cold breeze come right across my feet. I don't think I had a real grasp as far as an explanation went, but I found it a bit odd that I didn't feel that breeze every time. It just seemed when I was getting ready to go to bed or at night. I don't believe it was built on any burial ground or anything like that, but the fact that the house had seen so many people and so many families come through it, I guess there had to be something still lurking in those walls. When you're in the inner city, they have a program that allows the inner city kids to get a chance to go and experience some nature and that sort of thing. So we had Island School, Toronto Island School, which is situated on Hanlon's Point. And on that island there's a lighthouse as well that is supposed to be haunted. So the teacher takes us to the lighthouse. While we're on our way, she's telling us the story of the innkeeper, J.P. Radimal, who was the first innkeeper who was brutally murdered by some drunken soldiers for not giving up his beer. His body was dismembered and was scattered around the area of the lighthouse. So they took us to the lighthouse. Now, when you open the lighthouse door, it's a big wooden door to the lighthouse, and you open it up. Immediately to your left, there's another big door, and then the stairs, the spiral stairs that lead up to the top. Well, I think the story that initially scared us was the fact that not only does J.P. Radmiller apparently walk the islands at night, but apparently one of the caretaker in charge opened this door that was immediately adjacent when he walked in the lighthouse, and what he saw inside scared him so much, it turned this young 20-year-old dark-haired guy, turned his hair totally white, and he apparently never spoke again. Later that night, we were sleeping in a dorm setup. 1 or 2 in the morning, I wake up. I look around, and of course, no one's awake. Everyone's sound asleep. So I get up. But as I'm walking to the bathroom, I can hear the water running, and I hear someone's in there. So immediately I'm thinking, oh, well, that's someone else is up too. Well, that's good. Well, I walk into the washroom, and the first thing I see is caretaker. He's at the far end, and he's mopping the floor. I said to him, hi, and he said, hi, you're up pretty late. And I said, yeah. So as I'm going to wash him, he continues mopping, and I said to him, kind of foolishly, wow, I guess you work here, eh? And he goes, yeah. I go, have you been working here a long time? And he says, yeah, I've been working here a long time. And I said, wow. And I said, have you ever been to the lighthouse? And I think to this day, I've never had anyone look at me quite the way this guy looked at me. It was fear, shock, all rolled up into one. He glared right at me, never took his eyes off me, put the mop down, and walked out the whole time looking at me as he walked by me. So that's fine. So he left, and I proceeded on my way and went back to bed. Well, the next morning we're around in the yard, and we're getting ready to leave. And I say to one of the teachers, I said, Miss, I saw the caretaker with the white hair. She said, let me check with the head caretaker to see who you might be referring to. They walk back over to me, and he says to me now, he says, what caretaker did you see? And I said, young guy, white hair, he had on blue overalls, and, was mopping the floor. And he goes, we don't have anyone with white hair, or actually anyone on staff other than me at this time. I was the only guy on staff, he said. But something strange did happen, was that this morning when I went to do my rounds, I went to go for my mop and pail, and it wasn't in the storage room where it usually is. And he said, I found it in the washroom. So, did I see a ghost? I don't know. And then I started thinking, did I dream it? No, I don't sleepwalk. I'm a light sleeper. Could I recognize this guy's face? Yes, definitely. Did he have white hair? Yeah. And I'm thinking, did I hear a door close? No. Did I even hear footsteps, although I can remember him wearing work boots? No, actually. I found it to be a little creepier later on, when you start putting the pieces together as to, what I might have seen. Probably a little more recent than that, was about 10 years ago. I moved in with a buddy of mine into a house that had been around for some 100 years. I lived on the top floor. We shared the middle floor with the living room and kitchen, and he lived in the basement. And in order to get to my bedroom, I had to walk up the stairs and then walk down the hallway. Well, on a couple of occasions, because I'm such a light sleeper, I would always hear footsteps coming to my door. Stop. That happened about 3 or 4 times. I remember being in a sleep, like I said, I'm a light sleeper, but waking right up and hearing and counting 9 footsteps each time. It was just coincidental. One night, my roommate and I were coming back home, And there was a young guy, and he was standing outside of our house looking at it. And we pulled up, and he said, hey, you guys live here? And I said, yeah. He said, who sleeps upstairs in that bedroom? And I said, I do. He said, have you heard any strange noises? And I said, as a matter of fact, I have heard a few. He said, well, because, my mother, she committed suicide in that bedroom. She hung herself. Wow, I never heard any footsteps after that, but I think just hearing that made me a little leery, and I won't say scared, but I don't think I slept as soundly after that as I did prior to that. That explained quite a bit, and I think I always came to